All righty, I am back here in the KARE 11 studios. If you didn't know, I was in Atlanta when we had our problem with the fire here in KARE 11. So we're back. Everything is going to be normal. So again, 15-minute weather. I'll give you guys the smoke forecast and the current weather going on here. Ren Claire is coming in here 7 minutes in. She's going to give you more of a national look at everything going on, not only here, but across the country. So the smoke continues. We have a weather impact alert for this thing. That's going to be for today. Now, we might need one tomorrow. We don't want just the air quality alert. We're looking for lower levels than that. And we do have some pretty poor air quality today, especially across northern Minnesota. Northern Minnesota, yeah, we're dealing with wildfire smoke. So this is all from Canada. And the problem with Canada wildfires, which is where they always come from, is if you want to have cool, crisp, beautiful weather, you got to take it from the areas where there's wildfires, right? You're not going to get cool weather from Oklahoma, but Oklahoma will give you hot weather. It will also push out the smoke. So how do you do this? Well, anytime you have a north wind and temperatures cooling down, you're probably going to get smoke from probably seriously through first, second week of September. So all the good days are going to have smoke. So you just get kind of used to it here. Not the greatest thing. We got an extended stretch of smoke here. This is the level where the air quality is going to be starting to lower for all groups. It's kind of going in waves. It's not the worst I've seen this year. I would say, if you are a healthy human, you probably can go outside and live your life like normal. Would I go and do strenuous activity? Probably not. But again, anything like mowing the lawn, anything like that, you're totally fine. But would I do a 100-mile bike ride today? No, I probably would not. And I know I think about the 100-mile bike ride because it's coming up, the Tonka, Tour de Tonka, right? So air quality alert until 5 o'clock on Saturday. We're on Thursday. So again, this is going to be extended through the weekend. And you'll notice it's for us in Wisconsin because that's where the high pressure really settles in. Iowa and Kansas and Missouri, they don't really ever get cool. When we get cool, and now we're going to get cool with Canadian air. Now, as you look at this, I think these sensors are broken here. We're all pretty socked into the unhealthy. Now, if you're in western Minnesota, if you get to the orange, it's not too bad. Actually, St. Cloud and Wilmer, you guys are okay. Starting to think areas up here, Duluth and Grand Rapids and Grand Marais, we might need to think about getting this to very unhealthy. For me, as a healthy person, I get worried when it gets to these two. I typically, in red, I'm like, thinking about it. And then when I'm at orange, I don't even care. For me. But yes, we'll be watching northern Minnesota very unhealthy. And that's something, up in northern Minnesota, you don't go backpacking and something like that. It's pretty dense. And you can see it's a little bit thicker up here. Right now, we're monitoring it through visibility. And visibility usually goes down for fog, right? It typically goes down for fog. And so I show this a few times a year for smoke, and I really don't love showing it for smoke. But again, visibility right now 3 to 5, and that really just indicates that no, it's not going to slow you down driving. It just shows you that, we're talking about some pretty thick haze in the atmosphere. So the big story today was the smoke, or it is the smoke. And then the secondary story, which might actually be the big story, I was torn this morning, it's cool. Temperatures this morning were in the 40s across Bemidji, International Falls, and we're still riding cooler at this time than yesterday at about 6 to 7 degrees. The dew points are key. How do you get lows in the morning at 40 or 50 degrees, which we all woke up to? Except for Minneapolis, the low was 60. But the dew points are in the 40s, and that allows the temperature to really drop, and we were able to see that across pretty much the entire region. Now, dew points this morning when I got up here, they were about 47. They've rebounded a little bit, but still 50-degree dew points is classified as very dry. As we go over the next few days here, we'll talk about the smoke and how it correlates to the dew point because it really does perfectly. So Thursday and Friday, the two driest days, indicate the two smokiest days. Why would it be like that? Well, high pressure is in place and driving in that north wind from Canada. Well, that dry air and the driest of days and the thickest of smoke are going to go hand in hand. Because what happens is these are the days with more of that north influence or calm winds. And then as you start to get out of this here, Saturday, Sunday, now you start to do a wind shift a little bit. And it could be a west wind, it could be a south wind, it can't be a north or northeast wind attached to the wildfire smoke. And by the time we get to Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, now you're going to start to see the dew points reach the middle 60s, maybe some pop-up thunderstorms. We can get rain with smoke. it's tough to have unstable days with smoke. We haven't seen that yet this year. So here's the setup. Now, there was actually rain last night in southern Wisconsin. High pressure dominates here, and it actually pulls in, if you were to draw on here, it pulls in this wind right here, right? Well, if the wildfire smoke is wrapped in this high, it just kind of wraps through and pulls in. And that's how you're wrapped into this wildfire smoke. So the smoke's actually back here, but it's still wrapped into the high. So you need this high literally to shift probably more towards the east coast, and then we can restart. But the smoke, where does it get trapped? It gets trapped in between the high and this boundary. So right here from northern Minnesota. In fact, if you went into Canada today, if you went up into Sioux Narrows, which is an hour and a half north of the border, I only know that because I go to Canada every year. But if you went to Sioux Narrows, they don't have any smoke. None. Zero. Isn't that weird? Well, yeah, because the wildfires are not here. It actually comes around the high and then gets drifted back in. So all you got to do is get away from the high pressure in this pipeline of really north winds, and you can actually see some nice days. Now, besides the haze, today is a phenomenal day. I want you to get outside and enjoy it the most you can. We talked about strenuous activities, mowing the lawn, stuff like that. It's going to be okay. But yeah, 78 degrees. Unfortunately, most days, not all, but most days in the 70s from here on out through the summer will probably come with a threat for some haze. Temperatures are great. How about Laverne at 79? That's pretty rare. You guys love to hit 90 down there. 79 in Laverne, 78 here in the Twin Cities, 60s off to the north, but this is where we're going to have that thicker haze as we go through the afternoon. Precipitation goes also hand in hand with the smoke. No chance for rain with the north winds. That's where we have the smoke. When rain chances come back, how do you get moisture? Changing the wind direction. So again, that will also eliminate some of the smoke. So by Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, I'm not expecting a lot of rain. In fact, I doubt it rains. I doubt we get rain through Tuesday, and Wednesday even a 30% chance. So all in all, the next 7 days, while they're a little smoky, we really needed some dry weather, and I really think that we're actually going to get this dry weather as we go through the next 7, and it's kind of a drier pattern as well. Smoky pattern, yes. Dry pattern, also. I would say Saturday and Sunday are the 2 days here where I think we could clear out the smoke completely, and that would be a really nice way to end the weekend. But yeah, we'll be in the 70s. Isolated storm chance on Monday is about 20%. So it doesn't look like we're going to really have a whole lot to deal with. I'll hand things over to Ryan Claire. She takes more of a look around the nation.
Let's do it. So yeah, I mean, on Monday we have that chance for rain, but it doesn't look to be a washout. Taking a quick look at that high that John was talking about, that area of high pressure. Closer to the high, you have lighter winds. So northern Minnesota is looking at winds that are lighter than what we're seeing here across central and southern Minnesota, even calm winds here, and light and variable winds. But here's that high that John was mentioning, that area of high pressure. And you can see very easily that clockwise flow around the high. Now that is centered right over us here in Minnesota, and the winds are a little bit breezier towards Wisconsin. So a lot of the smoke that's building in across Minnesota is somewhat stagnant. It's just kind of hanging out, moseying very gradually farther to the west. Whereas you have a breezier wind here as you get a little bit away from the center of that area of high pressure. So taking a look at this hazy pattern that we're in, part of the reason why it's blocked or kind of stagnant is because we're not really looking at any sort of major pattern change. And what I'm showing you here are temperatures at 850s. You can kind of think of it as just in general your temp. So this is going to be warmer air where you see those oranges as well as yellows. And we're looking at cooler air where you're seeing the blues and the greens. And that area of high pressure that's just to our north is continuing to keep this pattern in place over the Great Lakes, to a lesser extent towards the Dakotas. And as we head through tomorrow, here's tomorrow morning, this is the same pattern we've had the last couple of days. So taking you through that timeline, here's tomorrow afternoon, again, still building that heat towards our west, keeping things cool over the Great Lakes. And that holds all the way into Sunday. So Sunday morning, we're still starting out cooler, but you can start to see some of these lighter greens building in from our west and also some of those yellows. And that's warmer air. So that's when things start to shift for us Sunday as we head into next week. That's when we're starting to build that heat back. Until then, though, we're still talking about mild and dry weather, like John was talking about. So taking a look at current temperatures, and we're in the 60s. A lot of cooler air for this time of the year across the upper Midwest. You can see all of that heat to our south and east. Nashville at 87 right now, and we're just starting things out. And then in terms of what you can expect for the heat, well, there are advisories, and excuse me, that box shouldn't be popping up, but these are advisories, heat advisories and warnings that are in place from parts of Mississippi towards Arkansas, as well as Tennessee and Louisiana, even Texas. So definitely some heat to the south. We're not dealing with that. And fortunately, we're not talking about major drought either. So we catch a break there. We could use some rain across far northern Minnesota where you're seeing some of these tans and yellows, but I just don't expect that to be a concern for us as we head through much of August, because we've just had so much moisture. We're later in the summer. August, our first full week of August is next week. And at this point in the summer, we could be dealing with substantial drought. We're not. So this is good news for us. Taking a look to our west, well, it's not quite as good of news. We do still have some dry conditions across parts of Colorado. That has expanded compared to last week's drought monitor. So just along the Rockies here, and especially the Southwest, a lot of those reds, which is extreme drought, and the darker red, which is exceptional drought, that is expanding northward. In terms of what we could see rain-wise, well, the Rockies do have a shot of some rain, but we're not going to be looking at widespread rain. A lot of what they're going to see will just be scattered showers and storms. Once we get into next week, and this is the next 6 to 10 days, then we start to heat up. So we are actually going to be likely near average, if anything, a little above average over the Great Lakes, and then definitely expected to see above average temperatures towards the southwest. That's where you're seeing those darker reds. That's kind of the highest chance of those above average temperatures. A little bit cooler temperatures expected over the Pacific Northwest, and these are all cooler and warmer with respect to averages as well. Your severe weather outlook, quiet. Actually, this is a pretty quiet pattern across the lower 48. We do have the chance for some severe storms from Denver towards Cheyenne, and that's going to be later this afternoon as well as evening. So taking you through that here, this is again microcast or future cast for the lower 48, and you can actually see those streamlines. These are just telling you where the winds are coming out of. This is in response to that area of high pressure that's north of Minnesota. So that's kind of driving some of the convergence towards the Rockies with some of these winds that are moving off the Rockies. So as we head into the afternoon, here's 1 o'clock, you're going to start to see some of those storms developing. The risk for scattered severe storms holds towards where I just showed you those areas in the yellow, in Wyoming, as well as parts of Colorado. Rain is possible towards Missouri, but I'm going to fast track it right over to Washington, D.C., to Philly, as well as New York, because that's where we have another shot at some severe storms. And that's going to be later today in the afternoon through the evening and even overnight hours. Here's about 8 o'clock. Scattered storms still strengthening, and you can kind of see that firing off into the overnight hours. Still some strong storms in New York as well as Philly, and tomorrow morning some rain lingers, but they should dry out. So that's the outlook for severe weather here today and tonight, and that's pretty quiet for this time of the year. We typically have a little bit more going on. Taking a quick check of dew points, I know that John was talking about this as well. This is really dry air, and yesterday we were still pretty muggy across southern Minnesota. Today is a more consistent day where everybody's in on that more comfortable and cooler air mass. Yes, we do still have the smoke. We are going to see some changes with that, though, as we head into the later part of the weekend. Dew points are low. This is dry air for this time of the year for sure. We're typically looking at dew points in the 60s, and we're talking about dew points in the low 50s right now. Towards the weekend, that starts to change. So Sunday kind of transitions into a little bit more humidity. We'll also have a bit more cloud cover. By Monday and Tuesday of next week, it is looking to be more typical and seasonable. Now we have our weather impact alert for today because the air quality is poor for everybody. We're all in the red here, and we have some areas across northeastern Minnesota that are even in purple, which is a step beyond unhealthy for everybody. It's actually extremely unhealthy. So that's why we have today warned, given how finicky some of the forecasting can be with wildfire smoke, we don't yet have these additional days as weather impact alert days because we kind of want to see how things end up tonight into tomorrow morning. Out of these 2 days, we do have an air quality alert still in place. Friday looks to be a little bit worse air quality than Saturday, and then we're back to more comfortable and healthier air.